An undercover cop was beaten by his colleagues at a protest. I don't know if y'all understand this. I don't know if y'all know this story. But an undercover cop, his name, Luther Hall. Luther Hall, this is him right here. He was asked to be an undercover cop at a public protest in St. Louis following the acquittal of St. Louis police officer John Stockley, who killed a black man. So John Stockley kills a black man. There's protests. And of course, the police like to put police in the crowd to manage, to surveil, to assess what's going on and lock people up. Well, Officer Luther Hall said, I'll go do it. So Luther Hall goes into the crowd and he pretends to be a protester. He pretends to be an undercover cop. Now, you know, if you were undercover cop at a Black Lives Matter protest or at an anti-police brutality protest or whatever it is, you got to be a certain kind of Negro. So it's hard for me to have so much sympathy because, you know, if he's there, he's there defending his peers, his colleagues probably. He's like, yeah, you know, these guys getting mad at the police for beating up a black dude or shooting a black dude. Sometimes we got to do what we got to do. Y'all don't understand what it's like out here. And then his black ass goes in there as an undercover cop for the cops in their interest against the protesters who are battling the cops. And guess what happens? The police whoop his ass too. During the protest, Officer Luther Hall was beaten by 3 of his former colleagues, Randy Hayes, Dustin Boone, and Christopher Myers. So this man, y'all looking at right now, was beaten by 3 people, including this man, who was one of the 3 people who beat him. Because even though he's their colleague, they might have shared a desk for all I know. I don't know how close they were, but I know this. But white people often don't recognize black people out of context. I got colleagues at not where I work now, but when I worked at Temple and other places where I'm telling you, like, I legit would be like next door to somebody. My office was next door to theirs for 5 years. And they speak to me when I'm in the hallway, but the moment we get downstairs, they don't recognize me. Don't, God forbid, we up the street or in a restaurant in another part of town on a Friday night, and I just say, hey, Jim. And they go, I'm sorry, how do I know you? We work together, Jim. So you know they didn't recognize his black ass at the protest, and they're already looking for black people to mess with, and he's there. Well, they beat the brakes off of him, and Luther Hall endured a herniated disc. I mean, they got him good. He got a herniated disc. He got a broken jaw or a jaw injury. I don't know if it was broken, but I suspect it was broken because they said he couldn't eat. And then he had to undergo multiple surgeries, developing gallstones. Now, despite being served while incarcerated for a civil rights violation, Randy Hayes, never replied to the lawsuit. And his claims against the other 2 officers, Boone and Myers, are still pending. But let me tell you something. Brother got paid $23.5 million. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. I mean, some of y'all like, I'll get my ass whooped for $23.5 million. I can't say that I wouldn't. I don't know if I sign up for it, but I could sleep a lot better knowing I'm getting that much money. I'll just say that. But nevertheless, the point of the story is, the moral of the story is, police officer, you think that claims of police brutality against black people are exaggerated? Well, turns out they weren't. So you had to learn that lesson the hard way. Now, again, I'm not happy you got your ass whooped, but I hope you learned a valuable lesson. And I hope everybody out there watching learns a valuable lesson. Police close ranks fast. And I'm sure if they recognized him as a police officer, they wouldn't have beat him up. But the fact is, they can't recognize him as a police officer. If they couldn't recognize the undercover cop as a police officer, maybe they can't recognize the normal black citizen as a citizen. Maybe they think that he is violent or crazy. Same way you thought that trained cop was somebody who was a person of harm. Maybe that's how y'all treat everyday people. Maybe that's how y'all treat regular people. I'm just saying. Yeah, Amity. He certainly effed around, and he absolutely found out. I don't like it. I don't celebrate it. But I ain't gonna lose too much sleep over this one. Look like they deserve each other. You know what I'm saying?